Welcome, everybody. Nice to be here with you. We're really excited today to be speaking to Cynthia Van Vroenhoven, I think. I hope I
Yes.
pronounced that okay.
Yep.
Wave by AGC. And this is a really interesting topic area. We're going to be talking all about connectivity. And this is a really nice follow-up from our session last week, where we interviewed Shared Access and Node Technologies, also both connectivity providers in the Smart Building Collective ecosystem. And Cynthia, I don't know if you saw that, but Shared Access bought Node. And so there's just all kinds of really interesting things happening in the world of connectivity right now. And Wave by AGC is a new, relatively new invention from the glass manufacturer AGC. Talking about coating on the windows and having that coating allow connectivity to flow more easily within buildings, or actually even blocking connectivity from coming into buildings. So this is really exciting to have you here, Cynthia, and I'm going to start the conversation by welcoming you.
Thank you.
It's so nice to have you guys part of the Smart Building Collective. And why don't you start by just introducing yourself and maybe AGC?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Nicholas, for inviting me to this interview. And we connected with the Smart Building Collective. We met at the Provada trade show last year, which we attended. And yeah, we
doing again together.
Yeah. And we really found that there is multiple grounds of connection between what the Smart Building Collective does and what we as AGC are trying to reach in the sense of connectivity solving. So my name is Cynthia Van Vroenhoven. I'm working at Wave by AGC for 2 years now, a bit more than that. And what we do within AGC is a bit of a strange thing, maybe for a glass producing company. AGC is a very big company. We are one of the biggest glass producers in the world. We've got 11,000 people working at AGC in different areas. Half of it is automotive glazing and half of it is architectural glazing. And the nice thing is the Wave team, where I'm part of, I work for the ATC, the Technovation Center, the Innovation Center of AGC, which is located in Gosselies, near Charleroi in Belgium. Our head office for Europe is also in Belgium. It's in Louvain-la-Neuve. And it really started with Wave and the invention of what we do today. About 6-7 years ago, when we built our own new head office in Louvain-la-Neuve, it was, of course, all high-end glazing because of what we do. And yeah, after drinking champagne outside, my colleagues went inside and discovered that connectivity with their mobile phones was even not possible inside, almost, because of the high quality glazing that was used. And so they started thinking, what is this for kind of problem, and how can we as AGC be part of the solution? And this is how it started. I've got colleagues who set up a team who started investigating facades and glazing. Of course, we are providing an opportunity to solve the connectivity in the glazing because of what we do. And what we did was look at what the actual problem is. When you build a new building, or when you are in a building, what blocks you from the outside is the facades. So the concrete, metals inside the concrete, but also metals inside the glazing. We use lots of metal coatings inside double and triple glazing for isolation, to keep out the sun, to keep in the warmth, to keep out the noise, things like that. Could be several things that clients specifically want. But due to that, you build some kind of cage of Faraday effect within your building. And that's why when you have a really isolated building, inside you have poor quality of mobile phone reach. This is the case for also for 2G. So, for example, in healthcare, 2G is much used for still for alarm systems, etc., talking to patients, all kinds of equipment that they use. But of course, we are now going up to, we now use all 4G and going up to 5G. And when the real 5G will be there, it's now not the real 5G in the Netherlands. It depends on which country you are in, the status, and what how soon 5G will be there. But when the real 5G will be there, that's even more difficult to get through the glazing. So the problem is increasing a lot. And it is so for new buildings, but also for existing buildings. The more isolating of the buildings is there for 15 years, maybe longer. So yeah, the more you isolate, the bigger the problem gets. So what we do, is look at this problem and see what can we do. And we found the solution in treating the coating within the glazing. So you have layers of glazing with coating in between, the metal coating. And what we do is we laser a small part, a grid out of the metal coating, not removing the coating, all of the coating, but just a small grid. And in this way, we open up the window to get in the connectivity, the radio signaling from the outside. Because outside, you've got perfect connectivity in most places, depending, of course, where all the cell towers are. But all the providers take care of giving a country, and I'm now talking about the Netherlands, but it's in all countries, of course, the same. Making sure that there is good connectivity outside is a core business for the MNOs, for the network providers. So what we do is we easily bring in the outside network indoors. This is really the key of what we do. It's simple, it's passive, it's affordable, and it's a one-time solution. So up until now, the other way to solve this problem of connectivity, this is there for years, of course. So now you need DAS systems or repeaters. In some countries, like the Netherlands, repeaters are not allowed. And when you put in a DAS system, that is a pretty expensive way of solving. It's effective, but it's affordable. Or it's not so affordable because most companies do just one provider. But if you want to have all, in the Netherlands we've got 3 providers. If you want to get all 3 in, it's an expensive solution. So yeah, we just wanted to look at it at a whole different way. Also because of sustainability, we don't add anything to the building, so we don't need cabling, we don't need maintenance. We just go in one time, treat the glazing, and then your problem is solved. It seems too good to be true, but it truly is. Of course, there are ways of where how far can we come into a building, about 15 meters. If you've got glazing on all sides, that won't be that much of a problem. But yeah, this is the real way that we work. And of course, it's not that simple to do, but it is. The idea is simple, and what it's it really solves the problem.
Yeah, when we met you, it was so amazing to hear about this innovation, because it does seem simple. And you guys actually have another product, which is Wave Trap, right? So you guys also are able to block connectivity from.
And even we keep on. Yeah, and we keep on inventing. So within the Wave scheme, we've got at this moment a few products, all related to connectivity. One is Wave True, so that this is what I'm talking about, to get the signaling in. One thing I forgot to mention is we come to your to the client's location. We measure the outside signal, we measure all of the inside signal, and then we give our advice and see which windows do you need to treat, etc. So it's not just we come with a laser and we laser everything and that's it. It's a real procedure, and we report to you upfront what we can do. But besides wave through, we also know how important it is to provide shielding. This is a bit more common to us because of the way we produce glazing. Wave trap, this part is called. This is really mostly for cybersecurity and nearby attacks. So proximity attacks, it's called. So that there is no eavesdropping, but also for the health. For the health industry. So we are working on MRI glazing, etc., things like this. So all due to what you want to keep out, and this is of course for more for defense, for police, for security, etc., but also for healthcare.
Well,
And then
it's
can I
wonderful.
just, sorry, Nicholas, because you don't really know, for the third thing that we are now working really on is also wave antenna. And this is more to get, for example, it's really an antenna in glazing, but we will talk about that another time because
So
it's so new and
that's kind of like what you get in cars now, where you have the antenna for radio and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes, and it's nice that you mentioned the cars because this is something I wanted to explain. Why is AGC even entering this business? Is because we do 50% of 45% of car glazing, and this is why we have this knowledge. We've got at the ATC, at the Innovation Center I work, we've got about 300 technicians, or I call them wonder people who invent all kinds of things, and we have lots of we have lots of experience with antennas in glazing and what it does, etc. So that's why we know.
I love the title, Wonder People. I think they like that as well. But it's really it's incredibly interesting, and I think this conversation can go many ways based on just how you just mentioned everything. But I think what I'd like to start with is more the why, right? Like, so we did a panel or a roundtable with you all, and it was online, and we actually had awful connectivity problems.
Yes.
So we saw very quickly that there were the importance of it. That was fascinating. But what we did learn in doing that, webinar together was this progression of 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, and that's becoming more of a challenge to get connectivity into buildings. Yes. And at the same time, our work in our life is completely dependent on it, right?
Yes, it is.
There's no aspect of work anymore that you can go without connectivity. It's
no. I'll give you an example. 2 days ago, I'm living in the Netherlands in a town called Os, and we our energy just went off on the whole city, but also we had no connectivity at all, not via Wi-Fi and not via our mobile phones, and it was so scary. It was dark. It started at 6 and it was solved around 9, and we really thought, well, you really feel how dependent you are on connectivity. I was more afraid of not having connectivity, of not being able to call or ask somebody what's going on, than I was that all the lights everywhere were out. But but of course, stores closed, everything was
We're just so used to it, right? And it's so interesting because I was in the UK last week. And the UK, if you travel around the UK or even around in London, your connectivity is an issue. It's a challenge. There's connectivity problems everywhere, and I think we're really quite spoiled here in the Netherlands with connectivity. I think we have really good connectivity. But as you're going into these potential customers or your customers, how big of an issue are you feeling when you go in there? Is it like, oh, this is a nice to have, I don't think we really need it? Or are people saying we've got big problems?
Oh, yeah, really big problems. When I started 2 years ago, I came in from the real estate business. I have had my own real estate advertising agency. We marketed new projects, real estate projects, and my colleagues thought, well, this is a good way to introduce Wave2 to the Dutch market, because I'm the business developer for the Netherlands. So I am the first one to introducing this to the Netherlands. So I started in January 2 years ago. So, but when I started, I really felt like, okay, the developers and the investors and the building owners don't even feel how big the problem is, because the problem starts with the people who want to call, and the call just like what we had with the last webinar that we did. If some connection falls away, then you don't have any connection at all. So it affects people's work. But when I started, for me it's I wasn't that aware of how much depends on connectivity. So it's not only your phone, it's all those smart things that buildings are getting more and more of course. But in healthcare, like I just mentioned before, this is where it's life critical. The people, the elderly people who are living in an elderly home have some kind of device on their neck and need to push a button to be able to talk to the personnel, because there is no personnel enough, of course. And then when this starts not working, they are getting panicked, and you get really life-threatening situations can come up. So this is a bit of how we got into some markets that are really needing connectivity even more than just giving a call. So we see it's a big issue on so many levels. It's crazy.
Well, and you hit on a couple things, right? I think there's, of course, work performance, right? Like company, and then if you multiply that out to company performance, it can become quite a big problem or a big challenge.
Yes.
Because if you're dealing with all of 1,000 people who can't do their job, continuously, then you have a big productivity gap.
Yes.
But one of the things that we're also interested in is the health implications, right? Like, I hadn't even thought about the call button for an elderly person in an elderly home, like the stress that can cause, and the actual, panic. And I think that is also prevalent in our work and in our life, right? I think, like, if we have a webinar that we're completely prepared for and completely stressed about, and it's something that is playing front and center in us emotionally, and then problems, oh man, I've been there many times, and I was there with you, but it's awful, and we tend to take our work very, very seriously, and it's a part of us. So those kinds of things can cause, human stress and human.
And what I didn't realize before is how much pressure there is on facility management and on ICT to be able to solve all these kinds of things. When my computer doesn't work, the first thing I do is call a ICT colleague and say I cannot log in. But if you work in a big place, and everybody is calling you for all those kinds of small things, and there are really big things they need to solve, and it's in so many things, like the smart buildings.
I love that kind of human health and performance perspective from a stress and burnout, and why do people do what they do, and what makes people really stressed. But there's also a physical element to connectivity as well, right? That I think the science is still out, and the science is still working on it. But what is the impact of all of this connectivity on our human bodies? And and one of the things that Wave talks about is that when that connectivity can flow through windows and buildings more easily, it doesn't trap on our bodies as much. But in this space, but I would love to hear what you know about that area so far, and where are we going with that? Because I think that's an important piece.
Yeah, that's a good thing, because we do two things. With Wave2, we open up the windows and we let the signaling flow in and out. And with wave trap, we do the exact opposite. We really close off windows. We can close everything out so that you have no radiation inside. But we can also do certain levels, like for eavesdropping, etc. But due to this, we really think about the EMC, so the electromagnetical radiation, and it seems a bit strange that you do both, because when we talk to, for example, we are now talking to an apartment. We were just reached out a few days ago by somebody who has an apartment in the Netherlands, in The Hague, who really wants to, who really is sensitive to this radiation. And you think, when I started at Wave, I was not aware of how much radiation there is around you. But the simple thing is, because I know most of my colleagues don't have their mobile phones besides them when they go to sleep. And I know that I always thought, well, it can be that bad, but to be honest, now I know more. it's well, I'm not that afraid, but I can understand why you are want to do something about this. And the simple thing with Wave 2, what we do is we open up the windows. Like when you sometimes when your mobile phone cannot really connect well, it starts up working harder and getting hot. I think so. Everybody knows something, or you had it in your pocket or something, and you feel that it's really getting heated. That's a sign that your mobile phone is really trying to push and push and push and radiates a lot more.
Okay.
Those kinds of simple things you don't see electric magnetic radiation around you, but you know it's there, and it's there through in the outside through all things that are added, the tower, the masts, the telephone towers, etc. But in house it's worse, because you keep it in house, and then it starts ping ponging effect through your body. And that's not that healthy. And of course, I'm not an expert. I don't know exactly what it all can cause, but I'm much more aware of it now than I was about 2 years ago. And I think the market is getting more and more acknowledged that radiation is something to be dealt with.
And we don't want to scare everybody, of course, but
No,
it's
no. That's why I say it's of course it's very double when we talk to people who are really into this electromagnetic shielding, or who want the shielding. They say, well, but you also have a solution to let the signaling in. But we know from our experience and our all the research that we did, that it's better to have a natural flow. Like you know, when you open the window, you feel the flow of the oxygen go in and out. That's the way you have to look at what we do with Wave 2. And of course, you will get some radiation from outside in, but it's much better than all that you've got in, and which cannot go out as well.
And it's interesting, because I've met a number of people who are really, really sensitive to it. And I think it's a very small part of the population, but there are people that are sensitive to it. So I love the application of Wave Trap for those people that are very, very sensitive, that you can actually create a safe environment within your home to protect yourself from this kind of from this kind of radiation. And then I think that the research is out on the rest of us, but I think we are all we're quite resilient. And I think
this is also one of the ways, things that we find interesting in working with the Smart Building Collective, is that we want to get out more research. We want to deep dive into some of these questions and work with other companies who are in the same business as us, or aligned to that, to really, there is not that much out there on information.
Yeah.
And we want to learn more and more how we can use our innovations to help protect some things, or just get a better flow, or so this is also why we like working with you.
Yeah, we're looking for partners that want to join these research studies, but that's exactly what we want to do, is take this knowledge, take the different stakeholders that we have within the collective to combine that knowledge and dive a little bit deeper into connectivity. And connectivity is so important for our way of working, and and being able to be high performance and actually just live now. And it's
And that's
important.
it. It's really for the basics as well, because we are talking to a few big hospitals, and because they all have, they must, things that I didn't think about when I started was like the normal things like are you able to call an ambulance or a fire department or the police? That's a totally different network. That's a Tetra network, C2000 it's called in the Netherlands. But this also must be able to, you must be able to reach them when you need them. And all kinds of those kinds of things. It's
And we're learning a lot, right? You mentioned that the case about the little device from Action that you buy for something, and that it was blocking important connectivity.
To this, and what I've learned is more. I'm not technical at all, and I'm that's why I'm that impressed by my colleagues who really understand everything. But it's a difficult thing to get a grasp of when you're not a radio technologist, and even when talking to big hospitals, and there are really specialists there, and there are ICT companies that they get in to really understand what's going on and what does a DOS system do and what does this. So, but it's so difficult and continuously changing, like 2G and 3G. And 4G is on a lower level than which is sent out the signaling than 5G. 5G is on a higher level of frequency. So it all
it's evolving and dynamic and changing.
Evolving and changing, and a 5G frequency does a totally different, has a totally different impact than a 2G. So it's really you have to keep up on evolving and trying to explain to people what it is. But that's why it's hard for example, for building owners to really understand how important it is that they solve this connectivity issue as the basis of for example, when we want to do less with personnel and more with technology, as a smart building collective, you're really aware of that. But for example, if a doctor wants to measure from the hospital what your blood pressure is, or something, you have a heart disease and you've got all some kinds of equipment that is installed in your home so that they can monitor you from a distance, then you must have connectivity, because otherwise there is nothing to monitor.
We don't realize how many devices in our life now are connectivity based, and I mean, it gets even more extreme. I'm from the U.S., and now it's like refrigerators have connectivity telling you what groceries you need to buy, and it's getting almost absurd in some ways, but it's also, we become dependent on it. And Elizabeth, my co-founder, she's just finishing her PhD on embodiment of technology, right? And how this embodiment is, you become dependent on it. Like how many phone numbers do you remember?
My own.
Your phone has those. People's ability to look at a map and actually get from point A to point B on a piece of paper, it's different. So it's really interesting. But when you guys, let's talk about kind of the stakeholders and how you guys come into a project. Who are you talking to? Who do you want to talk to? What do you hope for in that discussion? Because in the Smart Building Collective, as an example, when we go to smart certified buildings, you have the owner, you have the tenant, you have the facility manager, you have the property manager. Some of the properties are speculative, some of them are. So what is your dream there? What is your hope?
Yes, my hope, one of my first hopes is that there will be more acknowledgement by building owners and investors, like the big pension investors, etc., that there is a connectivity issue that needs to be solved to be able to let people work and live in a good way, and that is not only the problem of the tenant, for example, or for the for the people in the building. So that because it's what you do, okay, our invention is a lot more affordable than a DOS system, but of course there is an investment to be made. And so for us, the biggest thing is to see, okay, who in the building is deciding what. For example, when talking to a hospital, you have the ICT management, you have got the buying management, you've got the real estate management. Well, they mostly have, they are mostly the owners of the building, so that makes it a bit easier then. But you want them all to work together, and you want them to understand what's going on. This is the biggest. I call myself also a bit of the, not that I'm that young and that beautiful, but I call myself the cheerleader of AGC because I think we first need to get the message out that what is the problem and what can we do as a solution, as a real one-time solution. So yeah.
And timing wise, right? So like
Yeah.
the smart building ecosystem that we work with, everyone is talking about trying to get as early in the development process as possible because they're putting in all the wiring and sensors and things.
Yes.
But your guys' solution is actually more, once you identify you have a problem, that's when maybe you would
we are thinking two ways. We are in the retrofit, it's called, I'm not sure who invented that, but the retrofit business. So with existing buildings, we are also the only ones in the market who may do this and can do this because we have a completely certified solution, and we are the only ones in the market who are able to do this, because you need to have the knowledge about the glazing as well as radio connectivity and all other kinds of things. So we when we were talking to one big hospital, we saw, well, it could be more affordable if we treat the glazing before installation. So this is a new thing that we will do, is that we can because of we manufacture the glazing and produce the glazing, so we can build in a stage that we do the wave through treatment in the factory, so that you can get a factory into the so that you can get it really from the start. So that's a very, very good thing to do.
Part of the overall cost of your glass. So
yes, that's it. It's only, and for us, of course, it's more affordable because we don't have to go with our teams to your building, but the main focus of our industry today are existing buildings.
Well, because they say that 80% of buildings that are up now
have these problems.
Or no, 80% of the buildings in 2050 are already built. So
that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Ones that are already there, you know.
Yeah, that's it. So we know there is a big issue out there that we want to solve. So one other party which I talk to often are ICT advisors. So the really big companies hire people because they just don't know. They've got connectivity issues, and it's such a difficult business that they hire people who really know what they're talking about. So these are people we also talk with. But yeah, I do the I will talk to anybody approach, because I think
it's still early days, you know. It's people are just learning about this stuff. But I would imagine. And yeah, I'd love your views on that. You know, as a building owner who owns the asset, right? You are trying to maximize your value. You're trying to reduce your cost. Of course, if you lease it out to somebody who's going to use it and it doesn't work, as in that they can't call anybody and the connectivity isn't very good, then the value, it goes down. You're going to get a lot of complaints.
Yes.
So I think the value case as to why to do it is really, really important.
And also for the sustainability in that case, because when you have tenants, the tenant will search for a solution for his part of the office or for his floor.
Yeah.
But the logical thing is that the connectivity problem is in the whole building.
Yeah.
So it's and then you've got people applying extra technologies or repeaters, or it's all not sustainable to do it like that.
Everybody building on top, and I love that, because I think, you know, what we look at is how do we give the right level of service for tenants, you know, and I think this needs to be a part of it.
Well, you know, for me personally, I have always worked for myself for 20 years. Yes, I'm that old. I just cannot work for a company that in which I think, okay, this is not the way of my standards. I can only sell what I'm comfortable and really trust is worth as much as I say it is. Yeah, otherwise this wouldn't work for
No,
me.
and the team is amazing. There's so much knowledge in that team, and it's
Truly is.
really inspiring story so far to follow, and we're really pleased to be a small part of it in that we are. But thank you so much for this.
Yes, and also I think, yeah, we are just being honest to the market. When we enter the market, we feel a few. One of the things we did is we in Belgium, they were talking to the Belgian MNOs, so the telephone companies, and they're a bit standoffish on working together because we were new, but this was a few years ago, because we are new and we are looking at this connectivity issue from such a different side than anybody is used to.
Yeah.
And now being in the market for 2 years and really having to find out, okay, which are the good markets first to go on, where are the problems the biggest, co-working spaces, healthcare. I'm now entering the hotel market from the beginning of March. I've got a collaboration about this, because I think all places where people with lots of different people with lots of different telephone companies who has their own telephones, there we can do a great impact. Which we can prove very fast. But I think in this process, we are also talking to DAS companies who imply these DAS systems, because we don't say, okay, you are not useless. We acknowledge the good things that they do, and they really do. But we just want to say, okay, we have a totally different way of looking at the market, and maybe we can work together so that the client, you can provide a better and more affordable solution. For example, for a big hospital, we cannot, these hospital locations are huge. And we can get the outside signaling in until about 15 meters, sometimes 20, sometimes 11, depends on a few parameters, but that we can see upfront before we start. And then sometimes you need deep indoors a DAS, because
well, not even that, right? I mean, you guys can bring connectivity in, but if the connectivity is not there to begin with,
then we have no case. So then we say, okay, you need a DAS system, and this is why I want to stress this. Is this?
Can you say what a DAS system is for our audience that doesn't know?
Yes. A DAS system is really, I'm not that technical as I mentioned, but I know that they put in a lot of cabling and antennas so that you get a good connective 4G, 5G signaling inside. But to be honest, it is a lot of maintenance. When you go from 4G to 5G, you need to make changes to the system, etc. So there are a few put-offs, and certainly for smaller buildings, it's not that affordable. And also because of the when you need to connect, mostly you connect to one provider. So you choose Vodafone or KPN or Dido in the Netherlands, or in other countries, other ones. In the Netherlands, we have the fortune that we can do multi-operator DAS systems. But for an example, in Belgium, it's not allowed to do a multi-operator. So they are really bound to one operator. So, but we really want to be honest and see how the combined chances are also in the market. Of course, I know I will point out the bad things about DAS systems because I want you to get wave through, but we have many projects that we can do together. So yeah, so really we want to reach out to those kinds of companies also to just see how we can cooperate. And this is, for example, what we also do with the Dutch. I won't mention, but with one of the three big ones in the Netherlands, we are really trying to line up to cooperate, and we invited them. They will come to the ATC within a few weeks. They are so impressed with what we do because we just look at it as such a different, such a different way.
No, yeah. I completely see the complementary aspect of it, right? That
yeah.
It's about, we need to be thinking about what we're trying to do with our assets and then build the infrastructure and the smart technology and the different functions around those goals. And yes. I think that this is a really nice option and tool and enabler. And I think for our audience, it's keep your eye on Wave because they're doing really, really beautiful things.
Yep.
Cynthia, thank you so much for your time and your passion and your energy, and being part of the collective is wonderful. So we look forward to many more research studies and aspects. And you recently went through the solution certification, so we'll be talking about that soon.
Yeah.
But thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, and look forward to also being with you at Provada again this year.
Yeah, so you can catch us at Provada June 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Something like that, yeah. I have to check the dates.
Yeah. Let me, I can confirm it right now. I'm going to confirm it. And then I can, June 11th, 12th, and 13th in Amsterdam at the Rij. We have a whole stand with all kinds of smart building solutions, connectivity, with Wave being one of them. But we have energy management, we have occupancy management, we have mobility that's in there, asset, management of it's going to be amazing. So we're going to do some tours and teach people about smart buildings and how to realize them in a meaningful way.
It's really great to be a part of a collective that that really helps so many. Also, we are not that small, of course, but also the smaller, really innovative companies who really want to contribute to a smarter workplace. So we're happy to be part of that as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Take care. Have a good day.
Bye. Bye-bye.